So you got your bell ringer finished, or you're finished, you got your notes labeled for quadratic formula, and that's what I'm writing on the smartboard for you to put real big at the top of your note page, is what the quadratic formula is.
Is that what we're going to be singing?
Oh, yeah. Everybody's got your notes started. Those are B's. X equals negative B plus or minus the square root of B squared minus 4AC all over 2A.
What?
I'm so excited. We'll sing it in a second. Get it down so you can follow along when we sing. Got it? Ready? Great, got it, love? We ready over there? Everybody good? Now, get that real big on the top of your paper, like I said, because that's all we're going to be using today. We've now solved quadratics algebraically. We solved them by graphing them, though on your assignment yesterday you had some where you just had to look at the graph and find it. We've solved them by factoring. That's my favorite way, but it doesn't work all the time. We've solved them by completing the square. It's what we learned last, where we had to get rid of a bad C and find a good C. That's not a bad way, but sometimes everything's not perfect for that because everything's not a perfect square. So this last method that we're going to learn today, the quadratic formula, it will work for anything. The only thing you have to make sure is that your quadratic has to be in standard form and it has to be set equal to 0. So before you can use this quadratic formula, you've got to be ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0. And that's where your a, b's, and c's for the formula are going to come from. So if it's not in that form and not set equal to 0, you'll have some work to do to get there. Okay? Now, first thing I'm going to show you, I've got a video I made a few years ago of me just sitting there playing the guitar and singing the song over and over and over again. So I'll watch that to torture myself. I'll play that to torture myself, and then we'll do it together with the ukulele. Okay? So, get ready for your ears to bleed right here.
Okay, then.
It's like over and over.
X equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. X equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. X equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. X equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. X equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a.
Man, sometimes I think it's never going to end. Back that up for next period. Alright, so it's our turn. Everybody got the words? They're up there on the board. Isn't that convenient? Okay, we ready? X equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. X equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. X equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. X equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. I don't know. That was pretty weak. You're not. It's silly. I know it's silly, but you're not. You're going to remember it if you'll do it. Okay, are we ready? Everybody ready? Everybody got warmed up? Good to go? Ready, Garrett? X equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. One more. X equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. That was better. That was a little bit better. All right, let's try some now. You're going to figure out, it will get even hard to say the quadratic formula without singing it. And you're going to be taking your test in a week and a half or so, and you're going to be singing it in your head, but you will remember it. You're going to hear it a gazillion and a half times between now and then. So I've got x squared plus 3x equals 5. That's a 3 that got shorted there. Let me see if I can work on that. There we go. X squared plus 3x equals 5. Our directions say to solve the quadratic. Now, after today, we'll be able to pick any method we want, but just like we've done on all the previous lessons, today's method is going to be the quadratic formula. Okay, so first off, is it ready? No, it's not in standard form. So what do I need to do to the one on the smart board to get it in?
5.
Very good. So Garrett is all over it. I got x squared plus 3x minus 5 is equal to 0. Now you're going to be able to skip some of these steps, but while we're just starting out, I'm going to label my A, B, and C, because that's the stuff I got to plug into the formula. So over here where Garrett got this fixed up for me, what's my A? 1. What's my B? 3. And my C? Alright, so we ready? I'm going to plug those in. I'm not going to put A, B's, and C's. I'm going to put what A is, what B is, and what C is. So I'm going to say x equals, alright, it's negative B. The song I sang was negative B. That means you put the opposite sign of your B. So x equals negative B plus or minus the square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Okay? And now it's just basic calculation. One thing I want you to be super duper careful of, on your b squared, what result do you get anytime you square a number, positive or negative? You get a positive. A negative times a negative is a positive. So your b squared answer right here should always be a positive. If we get an instance where our b is a negative and we're counting on our calculator to square that for us, you've got to put it in parentheses, okay? Y'all remember those rules about how your calculator's finicky? I'm just going to do some order of operations. I always simplify everything underneath the radical first, so that's what I'm going to do. So this will be, that's 9. Negative 4 times 1 is negative 4 times negative 5 is positive 20. So should get a 29 underneath there. Y'all check me out. Make sure we're good. All over 2. Alright. Now, I got good news. No, 29. And check that. Make sure you understand where I got 29. I saw a couple of heads nod at me, but check it. Make sure. I got good news for you.
Wait, how did you get 29?
Check it and see. See what you get if you do 3 squared minus 4 times 1 times negative 5.
Because
times negative 4 times negative 5 is 20, and then 3 squared is
9, so 9 minus 20, wouldn't it be?
Check it and see. I've asked you 3 times now.
Oh.
Check it and see. Where you got? Where you got? Where you got?
Not 5.3.
Why'd you get that? What'd you do different than me? All I want to know is what you get when you do 3 squared minus 4 times 1 times negative 5.
Oh,
I already got
I know what I did.
You still are not typing what I'm asking you to check. I want to know, I know I can tell, I want to know what 3 squared minus 4 times 1 times negative 5 is.
So I'm 29. I don't understand.
29. You agree now? We use that negative, it can work 2 different ways. The way I say it is negative 4 times 1 is negative 4. And negative 4 times negative 5 is a positive 20. So I do it that way, 9 plus 20. Or you could leave this as a minus sign and say 4 times 1 is 4. 4 times negative 5 is negative 20. So minus negative 20. Either way, it gets added. So I just wanted you to get caught up on that.
Is your C always going to be negative?
No. Ours was just because of the minus sign in front of it. Good question. Okay. Everybody's caught up and agreed that we got 29 underneath the radical. And I was trying to tell you I got good news. That's the answer.
What?
Why can I not simplify that
You
in?
didn't put 229.
Okay. 29 is not a perfect square. Garrett, your answer was wrong. It's because 29 is not a perfect square. And there's not a perfect square that will go evenly into 29, so I can't break that down. Now, if everything, and this is what Garrett was talking about, if everything was divisible by 2, I would do that, but I can't divide underneath the radical anyway. So, not worried about that. So, there's my 2 answers, right? Because I got the plus minus, so there's my 2 answers. I don't know where my mark, I marked through my 2. So that's it. Circle that dude up with an ugly mushroom looking circle. With Riley, you know, anything's fair in here. We can do whatever. Alright, check this one out. You're going to try. Well, that's how good y'all are. 3x squared plus 4x equals 10. Pretty much just like the one we just did. 3x squared plus 4x equals 10. So your first job is going to be to get that dude in standard form. I'll give you some thinking music. X equals negative b plus or minus. That's not helping.
No, it's not. It's screwing with me.
Over 2. X equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac. Over 2. X equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac. Over 2. What are you trying to say over there, Lady Joe? She was cringing and holding her ears. That's not very nice.
I was not doing that.
I was.
It actually really helped me remember that.
Oh, I know it now.
That's what I'm talking about. See, y'all think I'm just a doofus, and I am. But there's a method to my madness. And you can YouTube Quadratic Formula song and find all different versions. Pop Goes the Weasel just always sticks in my head.
That's what I do.
All around the motor, push through, it's the chase. First 3 is 12 times 10 is 120, so 1620. Okay. Will that break down?
I think so.
Well, I don't know either. Did you try and see?
Yeah, I tried.
What all did you try?
I swear we did what they said.
I know it's not a perfect square, but what perfect squares did you try to see if it would go into it?
4 would.
Well, then it'll break down if 4 will. How many times will 4 go into it?
Why?
I don't know. 4 will not.
34.
Oh, so it will break down, huh?
So it would, the square root would turn into 34? No, that would go out. Equals 1 to 34.
So far, so good. You got your negative equals, so it's just now. Now, what's first in there? B squared. So 4 squared. Minus 4 times 8. What's your 8? Times 6. Be negative 10, wouldn't it? We're going to 2a. What's your 8? 2 times. Garrett, did you have a negative 10 in your C? I don't remember.
Yeah.
Okay, just checking.
The answer.
I'm not all
2a. What's your 8? What's your 8? 2a, you said.
It's a loose thing.
4 times 34 made 136. 25. 16. Oh, whoa, 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 now it can reduce, that's what we're doing. So, hold on. Nope, hang on. Oh, no, that's not.
I don't know what it did.
That's if you're born.
So this is 16. And then that negative times negative is going to make a plus.
When I was
So 16 plus 20. So we had 136. That's what. So type in just the part underneath the radical. Type 4 squared minus 4 times 3 times negative.
I'll be driving down the road.
I know, got 2 foot.
But hold on, not too bad off. There you go.
Okay, I think it's
Alright, let me get caught up with you. Let me get caught up with you and see what we can do to simplify this, dude. 3x squared plus 4x minus 10 equals 0 was your first step, right? Okay, tell me what my A is. 3 and my B. 4 and my C. Hey, here I go. X equals negative B plus or minus the square root of B squared minus 4AC. I can't write fast enough. All over 2A. Okay, and this is what I was talking to Garrett about a little bit ago. I already know I'm going to have 16 plus something. Y'all see that? 16 plus something? Because I got a negative times a negative, and that makes that a positive. So 4 times 3 is 12. 12 times 10 is 120. So underneath here, I've got 16 plus 120, which is 136. So check that and make sure you got a 136 underneath your radical. Now, in the previous problem, what was underneath the radical wouldn't break down. So we were done. So I've got to check some perfect squares and see if there's a perfect square that'll go evenly into 136. And I have written that a perfect square list in my notes several times, and you should have too. Let's see, 12 squared is 144, so that's too big. 11 squared is 121. 121 won't go evenly. 100 won't go evenly. 81 won't go evenly. I'm working backwards on my perfect squares. 8 squared is 64. 64. That's intriguing. What's 136 divided by 64? Was it a whole number?
No, 64
okay.
plus
So
64.
64 is double.
You're right, it won't, but your reasoning is off on that, Garrett, on why. You come up with some crazy reasons.
You said if
sometimes.
64 will go to 136,
Uh-huh.
and I said 64 plus 64.
Is 128,
Yes,
right?
that will go
So
in.
there was not enough left over. I'm following you now. Woo! You had me scared for a minute. Glad you got me straight now. 7 squared, 49, no. 6 squared, 36, no. 5 squared, 25, no. 4 squared, 16. Anybody check 16? It didn't, okay. 3 squared, 9. 2 squared, 4. So 4, I believe, was what y'all found that worked. So that would be 4 times what?
34.
34. All right, now remember, underneath the radical, if it's a perfect square, it gets to come out. This is where you work, Chloe. So I'm going to, square root of 4 is 2, so I'm going to bring a 2 out. So I got negative 4 plus or minus 2 square roots of 34 all over 6. All right, I saw several of you there, and that's great. You're just not finished. Now what we see here, and I was talking about this a bit ago, all of those numbers can be reduced. So we're going to divide by 2 on all those, right? And 2 what will go evenly into all of those? So that gets me negative 2 plus or minus. 2 divided by 2 is 1, so I can put a 1 square root of 34, but that's just the same as square root of 34, so you probably will see it left off. And then all over 3. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Now, the only time you do that is if everything that's not underneath the radical can be divided. If one of them can't be, then you don't do it. So if this had been a 5, I wouldn't have done that. Okay? Woo! Fabuloso stuff. Fabuloso stuff. Fabuloso stuff. this one I'm going to do with you. And then the next one I'm going to send you to your boats. I got 25x squared minus 8x equals 12x minus 4. All right, so a couple of additional steps on this one. Is it in standard form?
No.
No. So what do I need to do to get it in standard form?
Combine my turn.
Subtract 12x and then add plus 4.
Okay, so I'm going to subtract 12x from itself and its buddy on the other side. And I am going to mess with that 4 too, but I would normally do it all in one step like Laney Joe said, but since it's our first time to have a double stepper, I'm going to hold on for a second. So it gets me 25x squared minus 20x equals negative 4. Now, because I drug it out and made it be a two-step, what do I have to do now?
Add 4.
Add 4. You write on it, sir. 25x squared minus 20x plus 4 is equal to 0. Sir, cross.
When you put your b into your equation and it's the first part is supposed to be negative, when that turn into a positive? Because it's already negative.
When you do negative b, yes. You always make it, put the opposite of it. Very good, very good, very good. Now, can I tell you a secret? Shh, I can whisper a secret. You could do this one completing the square. If you wanted to. Because, check this dude out, at 25, perfect square is 5. 4, perfect square is 2. So 5 times 2 is 10, which is half of 20. So that meets that perfect completing the square checklist. But I'm not going to do that because today's our quadratic formula day. But I'm just trying to remind you that you don't have to be sold out on one method. You can do whatever works best for you. But we're quadratic formula day, so we know our A is 25. Important to note what Grant was talking about. Our B is negative 20. So when it says negative B in a second, what do you think we're going to put? Positive 20. I had a kid there, Hunter and Grant. All right, we ready to go? I'm going to push pause on my song after I get started here. X equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared. Pause.
Minus 4 is
Pause. My pause didn't work on Grant.
I thought you wanted us to say it.
What did I said b squared and I didn't put my b squared. Why did I skip something? What did I skip? What did I do? Oh, why? Okay. B squared, and y'all told me earlier, no matter what I do, when I square a number, my answer is positive. So I could, even if it's the same, right? 20 squared or negative 20 squared would be the same. So I do that a lot because no matter how many times I tell y'all, a lot of times y'all are going to grab your calculator and you're just going to hit negative 20 squared and you're going to write down a negative answer. That is wrong, wrong, wrong. And you know this, all of your math teachers have told y'all this in the past. If you type that into your calculator, what it does is squares the 20 and then makes it the opposite. So if you don't know and you don't remember and you just type this in your calculator, your whole problem's going to be wrong. So I'm trying to avoid you making that mistake is the reason I leave it off. What you have to do if you need to square negative in your calculator is you've got to put it like that. You've got to put it in the parentheses. Because now that means negative 20 times negative 20, which will get you the correct answer. Okay? Alright, so I'm ready to unpause now. Mr. Cross, b squared. I lost my marker, there it is. Minus 4ac over 2a. Alright. So what are we looking at here? We know 20 squared is 400. Hey! I think I got a 0 under the radical. Is that possible, Michaela?
That's what I got.
I think you're right, because 4 times a quarter is 100, and then 100 times 4 is 400. So don't we have 400 minus 400 underneath there? That's fabuloso. We're excited about this. So, whoa, stay up there, scroller. So that gets me 20 plus or minus the square root of 0 all over 50. What's the square root of 0? 0. And what's 20 plus 0 and 20 minus 0? 20. So I'm looking at 20 over 50, also known as 2/5. Why does this one only have one answer? Just touches the x-axis once, right? Remember, that's what we're finding. We saw that on yesterday's assignment on number 1, 2, and 3, where it crosses the x-axis. So this one, it's just vertex, just sits on it. It doesn't dip down below it or anything. Could you put 0.4? Well, sure you could, but I just like fractions better. You good there, Grant? You turned around and looked at it funny. Did it look back at you funny? Good. Good in the hood. Now, that underneath the radical being 0, we're going to learn, let's go ahead and learn it now since we had a cool problem to get us there. We're going to learn something called, come on page, turn for me, the discriminant. I think I spelled that right. Let me double check. D-I-S-C-R-I-M-I-N-A. Hey, I got it right. Discriminant. The discriminant is just the part underneath the radical. B squared minus 4AC. The discriminant can tell you how many and what kind of answers you're going to have. Because we know, like we just saw on that problem, it had one answer. So just a quick review, you already know this. It's possible to have one real answer and touch the x-axis once. It's possible to have two real answers. It's possible to have no real answers, which would mean imaginary answers, right? We've learned about imaginary numbers now. So if you do the work underneath your square root, that the discriminant, we'll make a little piece here. If we do b squared minus 4ac and our answer is greater than 0, okay, that means we're going to have two real solutions. So that would be something like that. Just an example. If we get an answer equal to 0, like we just saw on that previous problem, what did we come up with? One real solution. So an example picture could be that. Just touches the x-axis one time. Okay, so our only other scenario would be less than 0. So if we get a number, and remember this is the part underneath the radical, so that less than 0 means a negative. So what have we already learned about happens when you get a negative underneath the square root? What's your answer result in? It's got a funny letter. It's got an I and it's got an imaginary. So that means if my discriminant is less than 0, I'm going to have two imaginary solutions. Which we can draw a little example down here that would never touch the x-axis. Now, when would this be a handy thing to know? What would the question have to say when it would be easier to do that than do the whole formula?
When it's asking if you have two solutions.
Okay.
Or
When,
if your answer is
right.
greater than
When it just specifically says how many and what kind of solutions are there. You could work out the whole quadratic formula and tell, but it would be shorter just to use that discriminant and tell how many and what kind of solutions there were. So let's answer one up like that. They got what we need on, well, that's a sad parabola down there on that imaginary ones. Kind of looks like something I drew. Oh, wait, I did. Oh, the things I've come up with. Okay, so the directions for this, that's x squared minus 6x plus 10 equals 0. The directions say, use the discriminant to determine the number and type of solutions. Use the discriminant to determine the number and the type of solutions. So let me just say first off, I know how to solve this now and you do too. This is not factorable, and this is the checklist that I'm going to start going through after today because you're going to be able to use any method you want. My favorite's factoring, so always check and see if I can factor. 1 times 10 is 10. There are not any factors of 10 that add to -6, so I cannot factor. So my second favorite choice is the quadratic formula. So I would do the quadratic formula if I were told to solve. But this problem's shorter than that. It didn't say solve. It said tell how many and what type of solutions. So I only have to do the b squared minus 4ac. Okay? So what's my b? What am I doing for b squared? 6 squared, -6 squared. Either way, it gets me 36. What's my a?
1,
What's my c?
10,
Okay, now I already know the answer. Because what do I get for 4 times 1 times 10?
40.
So I've got 36 minus 40. And that got me a -4. What did our little note page we just wrote say if our discriminant is a negative?
you have 2 imaginary.
So my answer here is that there are 2 imaginary solutions. And I didn't even have to find out what they were.
We did that last year.
Good. You are all on it, G-Dub.
G-Dub.
How come you're not on the tennis trip today? You no
Oh,
longer
I didn't
tennis
wanna go.
trip. Come on, Serena.
State's not for me.
You did all that talking early.
It's hard.
This is fun. I will. I'm actually tomorrow night at Burns Park at 7:30. Yeah, you come and play the ukulele on the sideline.
What?
Doesn't Trey Gunner get their state if they win like 2 matches?
Yeah, they're pretty good. Last year they would have, but they had to play the first seed. So I mean they almost beat the first seed, like 6-4.
Give it like a week.
They might go this year.
They won every match they played on.
Okay, I'll let you decide here what you want to do. If you want to just do this on your note paper, or if you want to grab a buddy and go to a board. But I want y'all to solve that using the quadratic formula.
So we try to find the
No, the solutions, what they actually are. So the whole formula. B squared minus 4ac all over 2a. X equals -b plus or minus the square root. B squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Just so you know, if I were working this one on my own tomorrow, I would factor it. But today we're doing the quadratic formula. You can put plus 4 or -4.
But either way, it's going to come out to positive.
Yes.
X equals
-b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. X equals -b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So that's a positive number, which means you get 2 real solutions. So now you got to figure out what they are. So you got to work the rest of the formula out. So that's okay, because you know if you did the square root of 4, it's 2. So you got whatever your b is plus or minus 2 all over 2a. So you're almost there.
X equals 4.
You're going to get 2 normal, everyday, plain old numbers for your answer. So whatever you get, you need to go farther.
So I need a square root that.
That's a perfect square.
That's 2.
Okay, so then you got to do 4 plus 2 and divide by 2, and 4 minus 2 and divide by 2.
So I got 3 as answer.
That's one of them. You didn't do your plus and minus. You did 4 plus 2. So you also got to do 4 minus 2.
So that's 2. That's 2.
No, 4 minus 2 divided by 2.
So 1 and 1. Hey!
You're just not done. That's good, Hunter. That's good.
So confused. Brent is so confused.
Huh?
Brent is so confused. He's just like,
Well, let me see what Bella's got cracking, and then I'll check out Grace. That's right, Bella.
good job there.
Square root of 4.
Where'd you get 4? Find the square root.
Y'all created a hazard over here. All this stuff.
I'm sorry, you're trying to
We got nothing else. Okay, watch. 4 squared is what? 3 and 1.
4 squared is 16.
Negative 4 times 3 times 1 is what?
Negative 12.
16
Oh, that-
minus
You only
12
get to
is
use.
what?
Yeah, he
Four.
he was.
Oh.
He knows. Yeah, since you only have one negative in there, you only use it once. What'd you get? What'd you get?
3 and 1.
Out of kid. Why are you
Let
winking?
me talk.
You were winking when I walked up.
I'm gonna give it.
You got it over there?
Root of 4 is 2. So 4 plus 2 is 6. Divided by 2 is 12.
That's it.
Touch it. Ah!
What you got, Daniel? What'd you get? Correct the window. Good job. Gonna get in your notes. You're gonna do.
I'm sorry. Like,
Walk your time.
I like the song. I actually
I never claimed to be an expert in the door. Say that again. My fingers are too fat.
I'm so lost. I understand it now. I understand it now, but I was so lost.
Alright, when you got it, if you were on a board, you might want to add it to your notes or not. That's up to you. Good job on that. How about one more?
Okay. Damn. I'm gonna sink.
No, you're not, Grant. Why did you say that?
Class was over.
You had a problem with one sign, and you had a kid, Chloe. I was like, somebody's singing that song. You heard me walk around singing it all.
I haven't seen it all day.
Alright, so you got 2x squared plus 4x equals 30. And again, these are two normal Plano answers. I've been nice to you. Maybe we'll do one more after this where I give you one that's still got a square root or an I or something. Oh, come on.
No, it's just
Hey, Doctor, I have a
minus
question.
I'm listening.
This is 2x squared. Could I just divide all these
You
by
could
2?
indeed.
Okay. Does it make sense?
Six. That was 1.8, so 4.
Oh, yeah, I'll say that.
Thought so. Let's just get there.
Mariachi band. We don't have any Espanol speakers in here, do we?
Kind of. Taking Spanish.
Taco!
16 goes into 256. Let's go. 16 times.
Hey, so that must be a perfect square, is it? So you bring the 16 out and nothing's left in. Woohoo! Look at you. figuring stuff
34,
out.
wasn't it?
No, the square root of 256 is 16. So
16
you bring the
times.
16 out.
So it would be like.
Well, that was not good.
Good job. You would have took the
I
back
actually got it right.
At a kid, Grant, I told you you could do it. I believed in you.
Wait, so it'd be like.
And I don't know what to do.
I actually understood how to do it.
Try
16.
You can do
All over 4. Now work that out.
the little one come out.
You broke it.
The little one come out.
What the heck are you doing with my markers?
I didn't do anything.
This is why we can't have nice things. Look, hold that. Hold that.
We have another crisis today. It's going to be the second crisis of today. First one was over what we're doing because I did not understand. I did not honestly.
I'm gonna break them. Just get another one.
I think I need a bone.
Lane Joe.
You need a what?
Lane Joe.
What'd you say? Oh.
I don't know what to do after
I
that.
have like 3. I just never played all day.
You should wear them more often.
I don't know. I need help. So you got a -4 plus 16.
Oh, I got it. I got it. I got it. That right there.
Where's the 16?
I got it.
Because 2.6 is already square.
You did this one.
Hang on, okay? Don't keep asking.
You're the smart one.
I think they're both negative, aren't they?
They're both negative. -3 and negative.
No. They should not both be negative.
A negative and a positive make a negative, right?
They should not both be
I
negative.
don't know where to go.
Wait, does a negative and a positive make a negative or a positive?
If it's negative 1 plus 16 is
So you got
12.
256 underneath there?
And then you divide that by 4 and
It's a
get
perfect square.
What? What do you get 12?
-4 plus 16.
Positive 12? Oh, so it'll be positive.
Oh, you gotta move that 30 over, because it's not equal to 0, so your 30 will be a negative.
It is.
Alright, will you check this,
River
please?
broke it.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean
Check
to.
what I did.
Y'all. Correct.
Just kidding. What if I was though?
Well, I should feel smart for once.
What's the square root of 256? But I've already done it once. Second time's the charm. Second time's the charm. Second time's the charm. I didn't say that. I said 1980. Yes, if we assume
I'm
so.
too.
So I've always wanted to do it.
Show me your ABC.
I show me where I go.
About it.
Yeah. Like, Coach Video Bible was in there, but like he was without a teacher. I'm kidding. I would
Yeah.
You have to like I don't want to go sit in the bathroom.
So,
That's everybody else.
-4, a C, so you gotta
So
minus
who's taking
the
the
negative.
camera?
So that
Should
should
work on this board. Get off the board.
Yo. Good job.
Good job.
Good job.
Well, if you
Small board. Look at this dude.
Are we doing another one?
Yes.
Oh,
Fabuloso. Okay, last one we're gonna look at. You gotta do your -4 before you divide. So -4 plus 16 get an Yeah, you gotta do. So you're gonna do -4 plus 16.
Daddy.
So you can divide by 4.
And I'm talking.
And then do -4 minus 16.
Coach Rice, did you end up getting up?
I did
CJ
sit in a
fixed
lot
it.
less steps.
I don't know how. Did you? I
You
don't
go
know
ahead and
how.
divide by 2. That's what I was wondering what you did. But I just plug -30.
Alright, last one we're gonna look at today. So first thing you need to do is get it in standard form. Now, your answer, are you listening? Your answer's still gonna have square root in it. It's not a perfect square this time. Your answer's still gonna have a square root in it.
You just gotta change it all over. So it's.
Would you add -3?
That's what I would do. I would just add 3x. So I'm on 2x
It's gonna
squared
cancel and then
plus
it's gonna-
3x
This is it right here, baby.
And then plug it.
Yep.
Right there. Come on, buddy. So x equals -b. So it'll be 3 plus or minus b squared. So 3 squared minus 4 -2. Oh, that's -2. It's a good black marker right here.
It's going to on that one.
Show you. I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. What happened to the marker? It's like died. That's the answer right
This is
there.
not gonna go into. it's not
Right,
gonna
you're
square
still going to
root.
square root in your answer.
No, that's it. That's the answer right there. Okay, please speak on my name. I'm not right. That's what I'm seeing here.
I still
Is
learning.
it over negative 4?
You need help.
It's over negative.
Well, it depends where your negative is. Mine's going to be over positive 4, but I'm going to have a negative over 3. They did theirs different than I did. It's okay. It's still,
I just moved it.
What, isn't it 2
Yes.
negative 2?
slow down. Both of our answers are going to be correct. You've got a positive divided by a negative, which is a negative. I'm going to have a negative divided by a positive, which
No,
is a
it
negative.
is not.
See, y'all chose to move the right side
No, you
over.
wouldn't.
I chose to move the left side over. So
I'm
our
moving my
final
left side
answer would be the same, it just looks a smidge different.
Add this over here to the side is already.
8 plus 32, so 9 plus
I want to see how far I can say this. Wait, stop. Don't worry. I want to see how far.
When you get done, I'm done, so you can check yours.
That's what they call me.
Yeah, I got it right then.
Yeah, that won't break down, so that's it.
I did.
So this would be 4.
Are we done? So this is what I did. Wait.
Oh, bro.
Make sure you know what to do to get that.